I used to work late nights at a mid-sized accounting firm in downtown Chicago. Most of the time, I was the only one on the entire floor after 10 p.m. The office building was about 20 stories tall, but at night, only the security guard and maybe a cleaning crew were around. One night in 2019, I stayed until almost midnight finishing up some reports. My desk was near the big glass windows, so I had a view of the city streets below. The building was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence that makes you hyper-aware of every little sound. Around 11:45 p.m., I decided to head out. I gathered my things and walked toward the elevator lobby. The lights above flickered slightly, like they sometimes did, but I pressed the button anyway. The elevator dinged almost instantly, which was odd. Usually, it took a while to arrive that late. I stepped inside and hit the button for the lock. The doors closed smoothly, and the elevator began descending. But after a few floors, it suddenly stopped. The lights inside flickered, and then it started going back up. I thought maybe it was just a glitch, so I waited. It stopped again at the 15th floor. The doors opened slowly. The lights in the hallway outside were off, except for one flickering bulb at the far end. But what really scared me was that someone was standing there. A tall, thin figure, motionless, right in the shadows. I couldn't see a face, just the silhouette of a person. I panicked and started pressing the close door button repeatedly. The doors finally shut and the elevator jerked downward again. It didn't stop until the lobby, and when the doors opened, I ran straight out of the building. The security guard gave me a strange look, and when I told him what happened, he said something that still chills me. That elevator shouldn't have gone to the 15th floor. That floor's been closed for renovations for months. To this day, I refuse to stay late at that office. Back in 2016, I worked night security at a law office in a large corporate tower. My shift was from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m., and most nights were uneventful. I'd walk the halls, check the cameras, and sometimes chat with the cleaning staff. There was one lady, Maria, who usually worked on the 9th floor where the law firm was. She was friendly but quiet, always wore headphones while she cleaned. One night, around 2 a.m., I was watching the monitors when I noticed movement on the 9th floor. The camera showed a woman walking down the hallway with a mop bucket, but something was off. She wasn't wearing the usual cleaning uniform, and her head was tilted strangely, almost at an unnatural angle. I switched to another camera, and that same woman walked past again, but in a completely different hallway. It didn't make sense. There was no way she could have moved that quickly. I decided to go check it out in person. When I got up there, the floor was silent. The office doors were closed, and the hallway smelled faintly of cleaning chemicals. I called out, "Maria?" But there was no response. That's when I noticed the mop bucket at the end of the hall. Water was slowly dripping from the mop handle, forming a small puddle, but there was no one around. I turned a corner and froze. Standing halfway down the hall was the same woman I saw on the monitor. Her head was still tilted unnaturally, and she wasn't moving. Just staring. I felt a wave of dread rush over me. I slowly backed away and headed straight for the stairs instead of the elevator. By the time I got back to the security office, I checked the cameras again. She was gone. The next morning, I asked one of the other guards if Maria had been working. He looked at me strangely and said, "Maria. She quit 2 weeks ago. I left that job shortly after." In 2021, I was working at a marketing agency in New York. During a busy campaign, I often stayed in the office past midnight. One night, it was just me and one other coworker, James, finishing up a presentation. Around 1 a.m., James left for home, leaving me completely alone in the office. I remember hearing his footsteps fade down the hallway and the sound of the front door closing. The silence after that was overwhelming. I put on some music through my headphones and kept working. Maybe half an hour later, I heard something. A faint knock. At first, I thought it was in my head, but then it came again. A slow, deliberate knocking sound. I took off my headphones. The knocking was coming from one of the conference room doors down the hall. It was locked earlier, I was sure of it. I slowly walked over, my heart racing. The glass door was completely dark inside. "Hello?" I called out. No answer. Then, just as I turned to walk away, the knocking came again, louder this time. I tried the handle, but it was still locked. I pressed my face against the glass, but the room was pitch black. That's when I heard a whisper, clear as day, from the other side of the door. "Don't stay here." I stumbled back, my entire body shaking. Without another thought, I grabbed my bag and left the office as fast as I could. The next morning, I asked James if he had gone back into the office after leaving. He swore he hadn't. Later, I even checked with building management. They said no one else had been in the building that night, and the conference room? It had been locked for over a week because of a broken light fixture. I never worked late there again. Those were 3 scary true office building horror stories at night. Which story scared you the most? Comment below and subscribe for more true horror stories.